Hello and welcome to day 14 of OctHorrorFest, and today we're going back to found footage films with Paranormal Activity. So I'm honestly a little bit in love with this film, and in fact the entire series, and it is a little bit of a guilty pleasure because I know so many people really don't like it. Kind of weirdly enough at this point they've turned into a bit of a comfort movie for me, which is probably strange to some, but I don't know, I think it's because I've seen them so much and I really like them. Sometimes I want to watch a bit of horror and just have it on in the background and, you know, not worry about being terrified because I know exactly what's coming. Anyway, let's talk about the film. Paranormal Activity follows Katie and Mika, who are a couple who live together. Spooky things start going on, so Mika decides to buy a camera and kind of record everything. Very much in the style of, you know, obviously Blair Witch Project, it's a found footage film, but in this case it's all set inside their house. So he has the camera kind of most of the time in his hand, but he also sets it up in the evening when they're asleep in the bedroom. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that, you know, nothing happens in the film, it's really boring, but you know what, if lots of things did happen in this film, I don't think it would have been in any way as effective as it is. So the kind of narrative that is built in the film is super cool. First, you know, you just think it's a harmless ghost, but then it turns out to be a demon that has, you know, appeared before in Katie's life, and you find this out kind of halfway through the film, and, you know, it kind of builds up, and, you know, they reveal little things, but there's still lots of things that are left kind of in the dark, and I find this really cool. So for me, the narrative of this film is what creates the kind of scariness. You don't really know much, and little bits of information are given to you. You know, there's this air of mystery, and you know how much I love a bit of mystery. It's similar to the Blair Witch Project in the sense that you don't really get the full picture. And this is rectified in the sequels/prequels. As they go along, I think they reveal a little bit too much in my opinion. Again, like in the Blair Witch Project, I think the actors are very well cast. They seem very natural together and natural in front of the camera, giving that sense of, you know, the kind of realism of the found footage-ness of it. And the film really leans into that found footage element at the start, giving a disclaimer, thanking the families for the footage, you know, making you feel like this is a real experience, even though, you know, from the Blair Witch Project we know that it's not. But, you know, it still adds to that overall experience of found footage. And again, not showing much really helps this. And a lot of the paranormal kind of stuff that's happening, you kind of hear, you know, you see little bits of it, but it is not, you know, in your face. And again, like with the Blair Witch Project, please watch this film with headphones if you haven't already, because again, it's an entirely different experience with headphones. You hear things that you can't if you don't, so do that. I actually wrote an entire essay for my MA about sound in the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity. Maybe at some point I will publish that because I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun writing it and researching it because it's really interesting. And I think the setting of this film really helps as well. I think I've said this in a previous video about the home setting. I think that was in the video about Us. The kind of very normal domestic setting really makes this scarier for me because it feels like it can actually happen. And as well, the kind of static cameras that are set up really add to this tension. Like when the camera isn't being fast forwarded, and it kind of pauses and it's in real time, you're kind of really scanning the scene for something to happen. And you know, sometimes it doesn't, which is great because you're obviously like so tense and you're just kind of waiting and nothing happens, and yeah, then sometimes it does, but it's not like a big jump scare. And again, this is why I love this, because I don't really have much love for the jump scare. I think a lot of the time they are quite cheap. Sometimes they're very effective. Again, it's just how they're done. Paranormal Activity does this very well. It shows that you can build tension without having to scare the pants off someone. And again, I said in Blair Witch Project that I love kind of haunted real life things. Most Haunted is one of my guilty pleasures, and Paranormal Activity really kind of plays on that kind of paranormal investigation thing that I love so much. But you know, things actually happen and they make it out that it's real, and I think that's why I really like it. Again, it kind of tickles that are ghosts really real thing. I just have a lot of fun watching this film, and it does still scare me, especially if I watch it at night with headphones in. It still is genuinely very scary. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know down in the comments your thoughts about Paranormal Activity. Does it terrify you? Does it bore you? I would love to know. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm doing videos every day in October, and I will carry on my Bond series afterwards. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I will leave the links down below. And if you really loved this video, you can also support me on Patreon, and that is from $2 a month, which is £1.60. And I post early access to posts and crochet bits and bobs and lots of fun things. So I will pop the link in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for The Hills Have Eyes, and that's the original version.